There is a lot of talk about the Earth shifting and splitting into timelines. There has been a lot of stories made about this idea of the highest timeline, but it's not real. We live in infinity. So I want to go through this to bring some clarity and also to give you some tools and empowerment for how you actually can choose your timeline. If you are listening to this video and you are saying, I have never created my timeline, I've never changed timelines, and there's no way that I can do that because I don't hear my guides, I don't see things like that, that's not you. You are an infinite creator. The only thing that can prevent you from experiencing the reality that you want are the stories in your mind. I can only speak to this with this much certainty because I myself have done it. The choice now becomes, what do you want to be destined for? Hello, my name is Eluña. I am an Akashic channeler and a psycho-spiritual healer and teacher. Today, I would like to speak to you about timelines. There is a lot of talk about timelines, about the Earth shifting and splitting into timelines, and also this notion of the highest timeline. So I want to go through this and speak about this to bring some clarity and also to give you some tools and empowerment for how you actually can choose your timeline. So let's start just with the idea and the definition of a timeline. A timeline is a way, a human way, of understanding our experience in reality. So time is, of course, not linear. I like to call time spherical. That is just a word that I made up. It is spiral in nature, so it is spherical. Time does not move in a straight line, and a timeline does imply that time is moving across a line. So there's already a fallacy, a misunderstanding in the nature of time by conceiving of time as a timeline. However, it is a tool to understand how you are choosing your reality. So I will use the word timeline because it is a human construct and a simple way to understand how you can choose your own reality. So, going with that, a timeline simply means the time or the reality, the story, that you are aligning yourself to. Many people speak about this concept or notion of the highest timeline, and I do put that in quotes, very intentionally, because the highest timeline does not exist. That is just an idea that many people have spoken about, and there has been a lot of stories made about this idea of the highest timeline, but it's not real. Let's understand and remember that we live in infinity. Time is not real, and in its reality for us here, it is infinite. That is a paradox. So time doesn't exist, yet somehow it's infinite. It is a paradox, and that is one of the truths of the universe. So, knowing that we are infinite beings and that infinity is the only reality, going with the idea that there is such a thing as a highest timeline implies that there is a graph or a chart that you can move up and down. But that's not true. Time is infinite, which means there are an infinite number of choices that you can make, and therefore an infinite number of timelines that you could be aligning yourself to. If there is a highest timeline, then that also implies that there is a lowest timeline. High and low, of course, in this idea, those are judgments from the human mind. Highest being the most joyful, where you are the wealthiest, where you are the happiest, whatever it is that you want in your life, you are having that idea as your highest timeline. And so conversely, your lowest timeline may be a timeline in which you do not experience a beautiful, loving relationship. Perhaps you are not making the amount of money that you wish to make. You are not making the difference in the world that you wish to make. That might be the lowest timeline. But that is simply a judgment, and it doesn't exist because time is infinite and you are an infinite being, an infinite creator. So, I'm going to invite you to let go of that idea of a highest timeline. It is not something that you have to work hard with all of this effort to achieve your highest timeline and then work hard to maintain your alignment to your highest timeline. You simply become a vibrational match for the reality that you wish to be living in. And that is not a challenging process in terms of how you wake up and move about your day. There are challenges that arise that invite you to choose a different path, we could say a different timeline. They invite you to choose something different so that you are aligning to the reality that you want to create and want to live in, rather than making a choice that keeps you in the same reality where you are not experiencing your greatest joy. So, when you awake in the morning, you have the choice to move from victim consciousness to creator consciousness. It is necessary to do this each and every day, sometimes multiple times a day, until it becomes your natural default way of living and seeing the world. Until creator consciousness is your natural state of consciousness, then that is where you put your effort in. But that effort, what it looks like, is you taking time to consciously create the emotion that you want to feel, paired with the intention of what you wish to see and or experience and or create for that day. So what could that look like? On a day-to-day basis, you wake up, tune into your heart right away. Get in touch with your heart center, and then create the emotion that you want to experience that day. It could be gratitude. It could be joy. It could be a deeper sense of love. It could be a deeper sense of connection or wholeness. Bring up the feeling that you wish to create and feel it in your heart for a few minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Just feel the emotion that you wish to be living in. Once you have done that, then you are ready to set your intention. What is it that you want to create in your life? What do you want to live or experience that day and going forward? Perhaps you want to bring up a feeling of joy, and the intention that you want to place is to find and experience a joyful, loving relationship. So set your intention on that. And then throughout your day, come back to your heart center and bring up that feeling of joy that you first started with, so that you continue to be a vibrational match for the intention that you set at the beginning of your day. That is what it means to align yourself to a certain timeline. You are becoming a vibrational match for the reality that you are wanting to experience. That's what it means to align yourself to a timeline. And each and every day, and technically each and every moment, you have the choice to align yourself to another timeline. When you are staying in an elevated way, a state where you are centered in your heart, you are maintaining an emotion of gratitude, of joy, and it doesn't mean that you have to stay there and focus on it all day. It means that you're simply living in that state. And if you start to fall into a place where you are feeling more like a victim, where you are not feeling as unlimited, where you are feeling stressed or you go into a state of fear, then you have left that vibration and now you are in a lower vibration. You are experiencing a form of density, and that means that you're not going to be a vibrational match for the timeline that you are wanting to create. You are no longer a vibrational match for the intention that you set earlier with the emotions of joy. So that is a practice to move you through your day that you can start your day with and then continue throughout your day. If you have not already seen another video that I released, I made a video all about the fields of our body, our physical, emotional, mental, and then spiritual field. Your field is where you are carrying your vibration. So what that means is that when you have a clear field, you set your intention at the beginning of the day and you maintain your emotional alignment, your vibrational alignment with the intention that you set, then that's what your field is vibrating at. If you have not seen that video, I encourage you to go watch that. There will be a link in the description so that you can learn more about what it means to maintain a clear field. But that is the practice each and every day when you wake up to choose the vibration or emotion. It's the same thing. Choose the vibration that you want to be living in. Let's say it's joy. So you are living in a state of joy, and then you set your intention with that vibration of joy for what you want to experience in your reality, in your waking life. And you may experience it that day. It may be that you experience it a week later or a month later. As you continue to practice maintaining a vibration and a clear field, the reality that you are creating, the timeline that you are aligning yourself to, it naturally finds you. It is naturally drawn to you because your vibrational state, you are vibrating at the same rate or the same frequency that the timeline that you are wanting to create is also vibrating at. So when you stay a vibrational match, that is how you manifest and create what you want in your life. The other piece that comes with this is throughout your day, maintaining a state of observation. What that means is that you are being very aware of your environment that is around you, and also aware of your inner environment, your vibrational state that is inside of you. Why is that important? A state of observation does a few things for you when it comes to aligning you and keeping you aligned to your timeline that you're wanting to create. Firstly, it means that if your inner world is starting to fall into a state of more dense emotion or dense vibration, then you are aware of that. You stay aware, and so then you're able to keep yourself or return to a state that is vibrationally aligned, such as returning to a state of gratitude. You're able to come back to that, which means you're vibrating at a higher rate, your frequency is higher, and so now you are back into a state of alignment with the timeline that you're wanting to create. That is one piece, the observation of your inner self. When it comes to the observation of your outer world or your outer self, you are able to notice when there are small changes. You will also be able to see when synchronicities arise, which are telling you that you are on this path, you are on the timeline that you are creating, because the universe is giving you little breadcrumbs. It's giving you little confirmations that yes, indeed, the timeline that you are wanting to create, you are on it. Because whatever it is that might come through as a synchronicity, perhaps you find a feather. Perhaps someone says a word just in a background conversation that's part of the intention that you set. Maybe you hear a song that speaks to the timeline that you are creating. Many things can happen, many synchronicities can take place, and it's the way that God or the universe is speaking to you and affirming that yes, you are staying in vibrational alignment, and where you think you are headed is exactly where your soul wants you to go. That is a way of understanding that. Another piece is déjà vu. If you experience déjà vu and it is connected to you setting a timeline, then that is because it is confirming that you are indeed following your soul's path. Because déjà vu is a remembered future, and your soul, your higher self, knows this future already and wants to remind you that yes, this is where you want to go, and so you will have an experience of déjà vu. That's one reason why you may experience déjà vu. And apart from synchronicities, when you are looking and being observant in your world around you, you are able to tell if you change timelines in a dramatic way. There are many stories that I could share about timelines changing and me becoming aware of them. And okay, my guides are encouraging me to share one now, so I will. This is a smaller example and also significant. So there was a conversation that I was having one evening about essentially what I'm going to be doing with moving to a new place and what I wanted to do in terms of getting a house and what I would be renting, etc. During this conversation, I made a decision and knew that what I wanted to do was go forward in a certain way with renting a certain house. I had been considering two different timelines though. Would I be renting a house? Would I be trying to purchase land? There were multiple options that I wanted to consider. When I had come into vibrational alignment with my soul and with my timeline of what I want to be experiencing and creating in this world, I noticed that something appeared in the parking lot that was before me that had previously not been there. I had been looking into the parking lot because just on the other side there was a beautiful forest. And I was just observing the cars in the parking lot and the way that the parking lot was set up, because it actually moves in a very beautiful curve along this forest edge that I was sitting next to. So after I had come to this decision and realization about the path that I would be taking, about the timeline that I was aligning myself to, I then looked again into the parking lot, and all of a sudden, there was a large stack of cement and wooden blocks that had previously not been there. And it was very large. This stack was probably 12 feet tall. It was a very significant thing that just appeared. And it appeared the closest to me in the parking lot. So it was very obvious. As soon as I saw that, I was surprised and I said, wow, I just changed timelines. There is my confirmation. Now, that is a rather small example, even though what appeared was very large and so somewhat significant. But there have been many experiences that are far more significant, and the implications are far greater, of timelines shifting that I have experienced. Things that have affected sacred sites that I have gone to, and maybe one day I will tell those stories. But the only reason that I knew that I had changed timelines is because I was observing my outer world. I was aware of the cars in the parking lot because I was looking at the forest, I was looking at the cars, I was observing the parking lot. That's the only reason I knew. I choose to maintain a state of observation because it keeps me very conscious. I don't tend to fall into a state of density or into a lower vibrational state when I am observing the details around me. What are the colors that I am seeing? What are the textures that I am seeing? What is the temperature in the room? When I am paying attention with my senses to everything that is around me, I am clearly more aware, and that means I am more conscious. The more conscious that you are, the less likely you are to fall into an unconscious state, which means you're going back into a victim mindset. If you are living as a victim, if you are listening to this video and you are saying, I have never created my timeline, I've never changed timelines, and there's no way that I can do that because I don't listen to my guides, I don't hear my guides, I don't see things like that, and so I can't do that. That is actually just victim consciousness talking. That's not you. You are an infinite creator. You are a fragment of God, of all that is, of the absolute. So that is not God speaking. That is not the infinite creator in you speaking. That's just a victim program speaking. The more conscious that you choose to be in your day-to-day life, when you choose to wake up and become conscious, to tune into your heart and remember, I am a conscious creator. When that is how you choose to wake up and you choose to create your timeline, you are staying in a state of consciousness that maintains a vibrational alignment to the timeline and the reality that you want to be living in. And it's all just a practice. Staying conscious is a practice. Maintaining an elevated state is a practice. So each and every day, and sometimes multiple moments throughout your day, you have the opportunity to practice again. And just to be gentle with yourself, to notice when you are falling unconscious by being observant of your inner world and bringing yourself back into a state of joy, of gratitude, of consciousness. And sometimes that simply looks like becoming more aware and more conscious of the environment around you. So to bring yourself back into an elevated state, you might simply take notice of the details around you. It gets you out of your head. It gets you out of a place where you are feeling dense simply by looking at the walls, taking note of the texture of the walls and really observing them. The walls are all wood. I can see that they have some colors here, that there is a little knot in the wood right there where a branch used to be growing. Taking note of that brings you back into a state where you are more conscious. That is then a place where you can now come into a state of gratitude more easily. Because if you get sucked into the stories of the mind and you start spiraling down, sometimes it can be difficult to come into a state of gratitude from that place. So simply come back to consciousness. Come back to your body. Come back to the environment around you, and then move into a state of gratitude that elevates your emotion, that elevates your vibration, so that now you are once again aligned to the timeline that you are wanting to create. The next piece that I want to speak to you about this is how easy it is to shift your timeline. It is a very simple step of just making another choice. That changes your timeline. There is nothing blocking you from your highest timeline. There is no external force preventing you from experiencing your highest timeline, if we want to use that word. There's nothing that can get in the way of that except for you. You are the one who chooses your vibrational state, and you are the one who chooses how conscious you are going to be or how unconscious you are going to be during your day. And it's all just a practice. It is something that you come back to again and again, realizing I have the choice here and now. How am I going to respond to this person's comment? How am I going to respond when this person cuts me off in traffic? How am I going to respond when I am stuck in traffic? How am I going to respond when I have a bill that I need to pay? You are the conscious creator of your reality. And the more that you affirm that in yourself and make the conscious choices that affirm that in your own life, the more you are going to start noticing synchronicities and the more empowered you are going to feel. The only thing that can prevent you from experiencing the reality that you want are the stories in your mind and you choosing to buy into the victim consciousness that is creating those stories. That's the only thing. And so ultimately, it comes down to you. That is all that it comes down to. There is no external force that can prevent you from aligning to what you want to experience in your life. And again, I can only speak to this with this much certainty because I myself have done it. It has not been that I have been just given an easy hand of cards to play this game of life. And so you see me here, sitting on YouTube, being able to tell you how easy life can be. That is not what my experience has been. I have moved through a lot of challenges, and I can laugh about them now. And at the time, I still knew I am consciously choosing this incredibly difficult experience right now. And I knew that I was. I knew that I was consciously choosing it. And the piece, the key to me no longer choosing those challenging experiences was clearing my field. I have to clear my field each and every day because of all of the things that I'm carrying in my field. From my own experience in this human life, from the experiences that my ancestors have had, from the experiences that I have had as a soul in previous or parallel lifetimes. All of that contributes to the field that you are vibrating with. And so on a day-to-day basis, I clear my field and I maintain a state of clarity so that I can continue to be aligned to the reality that I am wanting to create. And I have fallen off of the bandwagon. I have fallen off of that and forgotten that I am a conscious, infinite creator. There are days and weeks that I have lived where I have forgotten about that. And then I have realized, oh, wow, I have been unconscious for the past 2 weeks. And I have forgotten that I am creating my reality and I have fallen back into a victim consciousness. Oops. And I just come back. I just come back with no shame. I come back with absolute compassion and understanding. I forgot. I went unconscious. I'm going to come back to being conscious again. I continue to observe what's happening in my inner world, what's happening in my outer world. I continue to maintain a high vibrational state, which means I am feeling high emotions, elevated emotions such as joy and gratitude. And that is what keeps me aligned to the reality and the timeline that I am wanting to live on. So, the choice now becomes, what do you want to be destined for? Your destiny is entirely your creation. There is a lot of joy that comes with the realization of that, and a lot of empowerment that comes when you choose to continue to remember that. What is the destiny? What is the impact that you want to have on this world? How can you be of service to yourself and maintain your field to be clear so that you can then be of service to others? What does that look like for you? What do you want it to look like for you? I want to leave you with those questions, and I do hope that you try each and every day to become conscious and to continue to choose consciousness again and again by being observant of what is happening inside of you and what is happening all around you, so that you can consciously choose to create your reality, so that you can consciously choose to stay aligned to the timeline that you are wanting to live on. And I hope you have fun, because joy is the greatest evolver. You will evolve more with joy than with any other emotion. So choose joy. And gratitude, that is the highest emotion to receive whatever it is that you are wanting to manifest and wanting to create. So choose gratitude. And as I said, I encourage you to watch that other video that I made about how to keep a clear field and to meditate on a daily basis so that you are maintaining a clear vibrational field in yourself. Until I see you again, may you remember your magic today.